Hello and welcome to Reviews by Kevin. I do quick reviews of stuff and I am reviewing the Novation Launchpad Pro. I think that this is a really excellent tool for people who want to do music production that's electronic in general. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife in a lot of ways. There's a ton of features with it. This is not going to be the video where I go through all of the features of it. There's tons of videos like that on YouTube. I'm just giving you my personal take of what it's like to use this. My background was in like rock music, and I got interested in electronic music because of Yasutaka Nakata, who's like this Japanese electronic music producer. So into this guy that I was like, I want to make this. This is my new thing. I'm obsessed with this now. I find electronic music production to be really boring, so I didn't end up using that this much. It was a pretty optimistic, caught up in the moment kind of purchase. But for someone like me that wants a Swiss Army knife, where you can really start exploring a lot of the sounds, where you can start exploring what it feels like to have this relationship with making electronic music where it's a little bit more tangible, that's what this is for. Like, what I mean by that is the process of making electronic music is relatively tedious, and a lot of it is you're sitting there and you're clicking, you're exploring through sounds, you're trying to find the sound that feels right to you, you're contouring the sound with effects and EQs and all that stuff. It's very different from the kind of feeling that you get when you're making music with a guitar, for example, or with a drum set, where it's very visceral and it's very tangible. I think the main conceptual goal of something like this is, let's give you something where you can touch and you can play with it and you can really feel like you have a physical relationship with the sounds that you're creating. That is something that this does really, really uniquely well, because the pressure sensitivity of all of the buttons, the different, the ways that you can like manipulate sends and effects and stuff like that just by toggling a few things. You do have to practice this like any other instrument, actually. Like, I put some serious time into following some tutorials of this and following some guides and stuff like that. And you can do the shift key and the quick like kind of toggles of some of these things, and you can really feel like you're more adaptable with how you interact with the sounds that you're creating than you would be if you were just clicking on the DAW, or if you were just pushing keys on a MIDI keyboard. There's just like a little bit wider array of things that are possibilities for you when you're using something like a Launchpad Pro. The note function of this I found to be extraordinarily interesting and compelling for me. I am not a piano player first. I'm a like guitar and bass player first. Because of the way my camera is set up and everything like that, I'm not going to plug this in to show you this, but you can see it in a lot of videos and stuff. You can play this like a keyboard. The way that it maps out the MIDI notes for you to play is really, if you're a guitar or bass player, you'll understand this. It's the exact same layout as the notes that are available to you on a bass guitar. And it's actually the same interval between them vertically as if they were strings on a bass. For me, I was really struck by the fact that it felt more natural for me to play this as my music composition thing inside of the notes function. It felt more natural for me to do that than it felt for me to use a MIDI keyboard to do the notes input. If you're a guitarist or bass player and you're looking at electronic music production and you don't really have a strong background in playing a piano or playing a keyboard, I have some, but like it's just banging out like Beatles tunes or whatever. Like, if you're not great at piano, this can be really compelling and really interesting as a way for you to feel more natural in your composition on the fly of the notes. And I even ended up seeing some clips on Twitter and YouTube and stuff of people who had become really skilled at using this as a keyboard to the point where they were playing like complex jazz pieces live on this as its own instrument. I think that there's an interesting future for the Launchpad and this structure of note inputs as its own standalone instrument. I think that that's interesting. Granted, if you're good at piano, that's better. Like, it's just ergonomically, there are more things that you can do in a more agile way if you're good at piano. But this ended up being longer-winded than I thought, but I think if you're someone who likes tinkering and wants a lot of options available to you, I can't speak to the Launchpad versus the Launchpad Pro. I think those are non-essential features, but it's the features that you would buy this for in the first place. It's because you want a device that you can tinker with in order to get a visceral, kind of like tangible, cool relationship between yourself and your DAW and the music that you're making. So I think that this is a buy for me because I can't really see ways, I can't envision simple ways that this could be better. It's really good at what it does. And it's fun to play with. That said, for all the positive things that I had to say about it, I just like picking up my guitar and playing it. So I'm not gonna be the next Yasutaka Nakata, but there you have it. I'm gonna leave affiliate links in the description for Amazon to buy this if you want. If you buy it through that link, I get a few bucks. So if you wanna support me, go ahead and do that. If you don't wanna support me, you can ignore that. This was reviews by Kevin on the Novation Launchpad Pro. Thanks and have a good one.